Right now, 2 mass shootings in 24 hours. Overnight, at least 9 people are killed in Dayton, Ohio, mere hours after 20 people are killed in El Paso, Texas. We have reaction from both scenes.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 6:30 in the morning on August 4th. I'm Keely Arthur. We're going to get a check on weather with Chris in just a moment. But first, we want to get into that breaking news. At least 9 people are dead and 16 wounded after a shooting outside a popular bar in Dayton, Ohio's Oregon District at 1 o'clock this morning. Police are now trying to identify the suspect who was shot to death by Dayton police officers, and they're trying to determine a motive. Officers on scene say the shooting could have been worse, calling the timeline, quote, very short, because officers were on their regular patrols of the district when the gunfire happened. The FBI is involved in this investigation as well. Now, this is the second mass shooting in just 24 hours. Hours earlier, a gunman killed at least 20 people at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, the 8th deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. 26 others were injured this morning. The city is mourning and questioning the shooter's motive. Police are investigating a manifesto apparently written by the suspect. In it, he denounces the growing Hispanic population of Texas as one reason for his actions.
We have a manifesto from this individual that indicates to some degree it has a nexus to potential hate crime.
Today, presidential candidate and Texas native Beto O'Rourke is scheduled to meet with some of the victims of the families. Authorities are also asking anyone who can give blood to do so. And switching over to Chris, hopefully with some news to brighten our day. A sunny forecast for this Sunday, Chris?
I do think we'll see some sunshine for your Sunday. We had those showers and thunderstorms move through last night. Right now, high-resolution Doppler is free of the showers and thunderstorms, at least over us. Perhaps some light drizzle and some light fog in some spots, but for the most part, things are dry. Here's a beautiful sunrise reminding us that there's always a brighter tomorrow, rising over Madison as we speak. The temperature 64 degrees, but notice those dew points are into the low 60s, so it is going to be very humid as you step out the door this morning. Monroe at 65, Milwaukee at 67. The only spots not in the 60s would be Wautoma and Black River Falls at 59 and 57 respectively. But the humidity will be felt today. Things are going to be borderline sticky to uncomfortable underneath the sunshine this afternoon, and there is another chance of a slight shower or thunderstorm moving in later on this evening. I don't think it'll be as widespread as yesterday, but we're going to throw that into the forecast and, of course, keep you guys up to date as the day goes on.
Always a brighter tomorrow. Thank you, Chris. Well, new this morning in Madison, police are looking for a man in his early 20s accused of robbing a pizza delivery driver at gunpoint overnight. It happened shortly after midnight on the 300 block of North Broome Street in Madison. Officers say the suspect was with a group of 5 other men and 1 woman when he took cash from the Domino's delivery driver. That driver was not injured and reportedly didn't call police until he got back to the Domino's. If you were in that area just west of the Capitol overnight and have any information, you're asked to contact Madison Police. Making headlines around the state, a La Crosse police officer who was shot Saturday was saved by his own bulletproof vest. Officers say the suspect, who had a history of drug arrests, was also shot and is being treated at a local hospital. It happened after police were called to an apparent domestic disturbance. The officer's name has not yet been released. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett says the city's new electric scooter program is causing complaints, prompting him to issue a warning about the use of scooters on sidewalks. He says scooters make it harder for older people, people with disabilities, and pet owners to get around. The city has received more than 100 complaints after the program started last month with 500 scooters. Now, Barrett says the program will be canceled if problems don't stop. Also in Milwaukee, a driver plowed through a crowd gathered for an anti-violence rally Saturday on the city's north side. Community members were gathering to promote peace, and thankfully nobody was hurt in this incident. The Stop the Violence rally brought together families who have lost loved ones to violence in the city. About 40 people were escorted by police as they walked through the streets when the car made a left turn into the crowd. More local news now. We're a little more than a month away from the start of school, but one Madison business is already looking to help local kids get ready. Throughout August, you can take a new backpack with select school supplies to Sky Zone. In return for your contribution, you can get a free 90-minute jump pass. All the bags and supplies will be donated to Leopold Elementary. You can find the full list of school supplies needed on channel3000.com. Earlier this month, we told you about a veteran who's walking across the country to raise awareness about mental health issues for soldiers coming back to civilian life. Now, a central Wisconsin veteran is doing the same in his own way, and today he is in the home stretch. Tom Kingsbury has biked nearly 1,200 miles since July 20th. His full route is 1,700 miles long. That number is significant since there are nearly 1,700 killed in action and missing in action soldiers from Wisconsin since Vietnam. His hero's ride has already touched at least one vet.
We stopped in Hillsboro, and there was a gentleman there that was contemplating committing suicide. When he heard about our mission, he took the time. Now he's going to reach out to the high ground for some help.
Tom will finish his 1,700-mile bike ride today at the High Grounds at Veteran Memorial Park in Neillsville. The Brewers were hoping to make another run at the playoffs this season, but the last week is changing that perspective a bit. Today, the crew will get one last shot at a win and a chance to make up some ground against the Cubs. Let's take you back to Saturday when it seemed like Ryan Braun was the only guy consistently getting hits for the team at Wrigley. He drove in the Brewers' only run of the game. The team went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring positions. With the game tied at 1 and 1 in the 7th, Albert Almore Jr. hit a homer for the Cubs, pushing them over the edge. Final score: Cubs 4, Brewers 1. They'll close out the series at Wrigley at 1:20 this afternoon. The finals of this year's All-City Swim Meet are today at the West Side Swim Club. Over the weekend, more than 2,000 swimmers competed in 4,000 events. The All-City Swim Meet began in 1962 with only 5 city clubs. Now there are 13 swim clubs competing, and it's one of the largest outdoor amateur meets in the country. Middleton won the team title last year. We will have today's highlights on our news at 5:30 and 10. From sports to the stage, the musical Anastasia premiered on Broadway in 2017 and is based on the 1997 movie of the same name. The touring production is in Madison through today, but whether or not you made it out to the show, our Michael Bruno takes us backstage this morning.
Dancing there's painted wings, things I almost remember.
It's about this young lady trying to find out who she is. She has amnesia. We don't know who she is. But the top of the show starts with the Romanoff family. You see their demise. It's not too graphic. It's really done beautifully. And then there's this young girl. She doesn't know who she is. There are these 2 con men who get a hold of her and want her to pass her off as the Grand Duchess Anastasia. They take her to Paris to meet her grandmother, the Dowager Empress. I am the lady in waiting to the Dowager Empress, and you have to get through me to get to her. One of the con men and myself, we used to have a relationship, so that's how he gets through to her. And then they bring in this girl named Anya and pass her off as Anastasia, but she has memories and she could really be Anastasia.
The costumes,
costumes
are exquisite costumes.
They're ridiculous. I mean, they're some of the most beautiful costumes I've ever worn in my life.
Let's run up the bill and check what's your royalty at play.
The scenery.
Oh,
and how
yes.
the scene, like you're watching an Xbox.
It's an LED screen, and I always say it's projections, but it isn't projections. Nothing's being projected. It is computer generated. So it's very 3D.
Impressive one is when they're on the train.
Yes, isn't that the best?
That you think the thing is moving.
It is,
really
because
isn't.
the train itself is on an actual, we call it a turtle. So it's moving, but the scenery behind them is the perspective changes, and it's so cool.
You're a native Madisonian and you graduated from East High School. So tell me a little bit about your journey from here to Anastasia.
Well, I started as a 5-year-old dancer at Virginia Davis School of Dance as a ballet and tap and jazz and Hawaiian dancing. And I was very, very shy. And I started doing theater when I was 12 or 13. I worked at Madison Theater Guild, did Anything Goes there as a dancer. And that kind of just, all those crazy theater people brought me out of my shell. And I started really wanting to do theater. So I did that for a while. I went to school, DePaul University, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point for 2 years. And then I started working at the Fireside. So Ed Flesch at the Fireside is the reason I never went back to school. He started hiring me, and I was a professional actress at the age of 21. And I've been working ever since. I auditioned for my first Broadway show, which was Showboat, and I got it. And so by 1994, I was on Broadway. So that's when my Broadway career started, and I've been working as an actor ever since.
And you have 2 more chances to see Anastasia in person. It's showing at Overture Hall at 1 and 6:30 today. You can buy tickets online at overture.org. Well, it is 6:41. If you don't have plans to see that show, your best bet may to be finding some free entertainment outside because it's shaping up to be a beautiful day weather-wise. Here's a live look outside, and Chris will have your full first alert forecast ahead.
Well, those showers and thunderstorms rumbled through the area yesterday, and some of them were just slow moving enough to put down a lot of water in some spots. So here's where we did see some of that action coming in. A lot of that was focused towards the central and eastern parts of the area, but up towards the Dells, those storms were very slow moving. Radar estimates upwards of 3.7 inches of rain in some spots, but elsewhere you can see where those heavier pockets where you got over an inch of rain that really came down given some of the moisture that was added to the atmosphere. But here's the past 12 hours on Doppler track. You see that line of showers and thunderstorms rolled on through, it pushed towards the south and west and fell apart as it did so. Since then, we've actually been very clear of any kind of true shower or thunderstorm activity. That's the case across the upper Midwest right now as well. And I do think this is going to be the case for most of today, but we will at least have another shot at seeing a shower or thunderstorm later on. In the meantime, it's partly sunny out there. Temperatures are at 64 degrees. Winds are calm. The dew points are into the low 60s, though, so things are becoming more humid for us, and it's going to stay that way as we go throughout the day. Monroe at 65, Lone Rock at 66, same for Viroqua at 65 right now. There are a couple spots into the upper 50s. That would be Wautoma and Black River Falls at 59 and 58 respectively. But the dew points do remain into the low and mid 60s, folks. This is going to be the case as we go throughout the day. So look for things to remain just a little bit humid for us, just slightly uncomfortable. This cold front kind of slid in from the north and east. That's what helped spark those showers and thunderstorms yesterday. This region of high pressure, it's going to start to move towards the south as we go through time. This will allow for our next cold front to push our direction. That's going to be increasing the rain chances as we head towards early next week. Watch the south and southwesterly wind begin to develop, and then towards tomorrow, here comes that line of some showers and thunderstorms that'll push on towards the south. Let's go ahead and zoom in closer to home and time this all out for you. Here's this afternoon. There's the slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures will top out right around 86. Later on today, we actually made it towards 87 yesterday. Once the sun sets, that moves on out of here. We'll cool down towards 67. Notice the winds coming out of the south, though, into tomorrow. We'll warm up pretty quickly. 85 by 1:30. Focus on what begins to move down out of the north. This line of some showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures are a lot cooler behind it. Notice the 70s throughout the northern part of the area tomorrow afternoon. Meanwhile, it's the upper 80s through the southern part of the area. That pushes on towards the south. We will have to watch at least the potential for some damaging winds there. There's a threat for some severe weather. Given that right now we are under a slight risk. The middle and end of the week does trend mainly dry. We are watching the start of next week for another shot of some thunders or showers and thunderstorms as well. But temperatures do stay fairly comfortable.
I have to give you a shout out. Yesterday I was outside at Olbert Gardens with my sister and some friends, and we saw the clouds rolling in at the time you said they would, and I said, they're like, no, the storm's coming. I said, Chris said it'll be splash and dash, it'll be quick, and it was super fast and it went away. So
Mother Nature's fun like that sometimes. Thanks for the shout
Thanks
out.
for tracking.
No problem.
All right, Chris, well, we'll check back with you in a second.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Well, an annual corn maze here in Wisconsin is using this year's design to communicate an important message that your life matters.
Everybody is somebody's most important person. If we can make a difference, if we save a life this fall, that's worth it.
John and Julie Govin's corn maze has different designs over the years, but this year it hits home. The couple lost a family member to suicide 6 months ago. The design features the National Suicide Hotline number. The corn maze opens September 21st. What a beautiful message. Well, it is 6:48, and when it comes to legalized marijuana, business is booming. And now a well-known name in retail is looking to get in on that action. We'll hear what's next for their business and how it could impact you on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. When it comes to legalized marijuana, business is booming. According to one estimate, worldwide legal spending on cannabis will hit $16.9 billion this year alone. Now, a well-known name in retail is looking to get in on that action. Jamie Wax explains.
Take a walk inside this boutique and you'll find it isn't your average head shop. Barney's New York, one of America's best-known luxury retailers, is now offering a new kind of indulgence. In their Beverly Hills store, just off the main floors with their fashion displays, is the High End, a specialty shop dedicated to marijuana accessories. And Barney's being Barney's, price is no object. Take this unique gift set from Devon Bay, a French company that once made stationery for royalty. It's so exclusive, Barney's employees only handle it with gloves.
You've got an $8,000 box of rolling papers and accessories.
It's super special, though, and it's really thought out. You get a solid gold rolling tray. Also, you get a gold temper, which you use for rolling, which has the shape of the Queen's scepter.
Matt Mazuka is creative director at Barney's.
You know, we started with 15. We're down to 4 of these.
Mazuka says the national expansion of pot legalization finally reached a tipping point for the company.
You could see you could smell marijuana in the store, and you could tell that the customers were engaging with it.
Could you have imagined that Barney's would have an area dedicated to cannabis?
No, I think that the voice that I've been able to kind of develop within this company has allowed for this opportunity to come up because, you know, our brand is based on addressing cultural shifts.
With far more experience in fashion accessories than the kind used for smoking pot, Barney's needed a collaborator to help curate the product line. They found one in Bebo, an LA-based luxury cannabis vendor known for their celebrity clientele.
They may be the first really classic sort of specialty department store to do it in what I would think is a very relevant way, because what retail needs right now is relevance.
Leslie Guys is from Toby, a consumer and cultural think tank.
Relevance is sort of where the consumer and culture meet. And the legalization of marijuana is a cultural moment, and it syncs up really beautifully with where the consumer's interests and instincts are right now.
Barney's may be the first major retailer to open a cannabis lifestyle shop, but other, smaller venues are already catering to the luxury market, including Higher Standards, with outlets in New York and Atlanta.
We felt there was a real need for this type of store because as legalization changes across the country, the traditional consumer is shifting.
Eric Hammond is general manager of Higher Standards.
There are recreational uses and recreational markets, and all of these type of consumers come to expect a much higher level of experience in all aspects of their life, and this should be no different.
Jessica Cadmus is a stylist who created Rogue Pack, a luxury marijuana carrying case.
I was seeing toiletry bags, I was seeing pencil cases, shoe boxes, all kinds of just sort of unsophisticated ways to hold a ritual. I did some investigation and then ended up designing something because I really didn't find anything that I thought was, you know, sort of beautiful.
Like Barney's, Higher Standards found collaborators, like top home product designer Jonathan Adler, to create a line of accessories including coasters and ashtrays.
So one of the pieces is amazing weed grinder. It's $1,400 retail.
And if you think about it, luxury products like these, dedicated to enjoying intoxicants, aren't really all that new.
Is this the same thing as Barney's selling beautiful cut glassware or liquor decanters?
1,000%, especially with the culture in Los Angeles. I think people are shifting away from maybe, you know, a fine wine into a fine strain of cannabis.
This is the new wine.
This is, you know, there's so many. We did a huge exploration and survey of the category, and there's, you know, sommeliers that will, you know, advise on the best strains, food pairings. There really is an ever-evolving kind of language behind this.
The team at Barney's was also cautious, spending almost a year exploring what this new kind of smoke shop would look like and how it would be positioned for its target audience.
The first place we had to start was really understanding legalities and kind of what is permissible, how is it messaged, what is the language of that.
What do you see as the future of this? How big is this going to get?
the more it's accepted and the more it's destigmatized, I think we'll see a lot of innovation within this category.
Well, there is a full hour of news ahead on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the day's top stories. But first, here is a preview of what's to come on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, everybody. Today on For the Record, we are talking about the state and future of liberal arts education and universities in the higher education landscape of our state and our nation. All of this against a backdrop of changing public perspectives of higher education in general and the humanities in particular. My guest is the president of Lawrence University, a university that is very much embracing the challenge of being a 21st century private arts and sciences college and more. That's coming up this morning at 10:30 on News 3 Now.
Two years after the youth escort policy was first enforced, we'll tell you how effective it's been in curbing crime at malls in Madison.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, it's August 4th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a second, but first, we're following breaking news this morning. At least 9 people are dead and 16 are wounded after a shooting outside a popular bar in Dayton, Ohio's Oregon District at 1 a.m. this morning. Police are now trying to identify the suspect who was shot to death by Dayton police officers and determine a motive. This shooting comes less than 24 hours after the 8th deadliest shooting in American history when a gunman killed at least 20 people at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, Saturday. 26 others were injured. Texas officers are now looking into the shooter's written manifesto to find a motive. Madison police are looking for a man in his early 20s accused of robbing a pizza delivery driver at gunpoint overnight. It happened shortly after midnight on the 300 block of North Broome Street. Officers say the suspect was with a group of 5 other men and 1 woman when he took cash from the Domino's delivery driver. That driver was not injured and reportedly didn't call police until he got back to the Domino's. If you were in that area just west of the Capitol overnight and have any information, you're asked to call Madison Police. We're a little more than a month away from the start of school, but one Madison business is already looking to help local kids get ready. Throughout August, you can take a new backpack with select school supplies to Sky Zone. In return for your contribution, you can get a free 90-minute jump pass. All the bags and supplies will be donated to Leopold Elementary. You can find a full list of school supplies needed on channel3000.com. And switching over to Chris Reese. Chris, tell me it is not quite school weather just yet.
I don't think so. We still have plenty of summer weather out there right now, even in terms of the shower and thunderstorm activity. Some of that came through last night. We are free from the showers and thunderstorms at the moment, even across the upper Midwest. But we may see a few more showers or thunderstorms try to pop up later on as we work into the afternoon and evening. Let's take a look outside. It is a beautiful morning as the sun begins to rise above the horizon. The temperatures right now mainly holding steady into the upper 60s. 67 right now for Madison. The dew points are starting to creep up further into the 60s as well, so things will be humid for us. Janesville a little bit cooler at 61, Monroe at 66. La Crosse has made it to 72 already. All of us will make it into the 70s and 80s at some point as we go throughout the day. Given temperatures that are expected to top out probably around 86, along with the humidity, things are going to feel borderline sticky to uncomfortable this afternoon, but I still do think most of the day is going to be dry if you have any plans for outdoor activities. That best chance of rain is going to come between, say, about 4 and 6 o'clock. Outside of those hours, most of the day will be full of plenty of sunshine with temperatures that still scream, yes, it is indeed summer.
That is what I want to hear. Thank you, Chris. Well, it has been 2 years since East and Westtown Malls implemented its youth escort policy, attempting to cut down on complaints about unruly teenagers. In a story you'll only see on News 3 Now, Madeline O'Neill takes a look at if the curfew has been successful and how it's affecting teens in the community.
I was kind of upset.
Teens love clothes and shoes.
You can say it's in a teen's very fabric to be drawn to the mall.
When I was a teenager, I did those same things.
But some believe the mall's youth escort policy is pushing them away.
Running kids away from public spaces like that, I actually think will increase crime because they're going to find ways to engage.
President of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, Michael Johnson knows keeping kids engaged is key.
And we should have safe, supervised places for kids to go, including the mall.
Places the Boys and Girls Club offers.
We could play basketball, or we'd have snacks we can play on the computers, and we can play Fortnite sometimes.
Rennell Brooks thinks the mall curfew is unfair.
It's just making it harder for the other people who haven't done anything.
While Johnson says Boys and Girls Club programs are full.
The malls are empty. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's impacted their business.
CBL Properties wouldn't answer if the policy has had an impact on business at its East and Westtown malls. But a mall spokesperson wrote in a statement that they have seen a decrease in the number of incidents involving unaccompanied youths. And while they do keep track of those incidents on their properties, they couldn't disclose that information.
We were responding to disturbances, loud fighting juveniles throughout the mall area.
Madison Police Captain Mike Hansen worked in the West District, which includes Westtown, for the past 5 years.
We did have security at one point attacked. We had customers attacked.
He says in the 2 years since the mall wrote and put the policy in place, he's noticed a decrease in the number of youth-related calls to Westtown.
But by and large, it has been a good plan to have in place from the police perspective.
Records of police calls to both West and Easttown malls don't show which involve juveniles, but disturbance calls rose from 32 to 58 in the 3 years prior to the youth escort policy and dropped to 46 in the year after and now 41 this past year.
We know that just because a policy is in place at this location doesn't mean something else isn't going to boil elsewhere, so we have our gang officers and other officers stay attuned to where these youth are now going.
While Hansen says there are plenty of places for younger kids to go to stay out of trouble, he wishes Madison had more programming for teens 13 and up.
So whoever finds that crystal ball of great programming for the youth out there in that demographic, that age group, it's really going to make a huge impact in our community. Johnson thinks you just have to look.
You don't see crime happening around our Boys and Girls Clubs. You don't see kids stealing cars around our Boys and Girls Clubs. They're there because they're engaged in high-yield activities. And I think the mall could do the same thing.
Brooks doesn't mind trading evenings shopping for time here at the club.
Here you can actually be more active at the mall. You just walk around and buy stuff.
Rather than turn teens away, Johnson would like to find ways to weave them in.
Our kids are part of the fabric of this community.
And according to East and Westtown malls, the policy will remain in place. We have a first alert traffic note to keep an eye out for this week. Starting tomorrow night, there will be nightly road closures at Highway PD in Fitchburg. PD will be closed at the intersection of Verona Road as crews set up concrete grinders for 2 new bridges going up there. Nightly closures go from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Thursday of next week. The entire Verona Road project is expected to wrap up this fall. The Brewers were hoping to make another run at the playoffs this season, but the last week is changing that perspective a bit. Today, the crew will get one last shot at a win and a chance to make up some ground against the Cubs. Let's take you back to Saturday when it seemed like Ryan Braun was the only guy consistently getting hits for the team at Wrigley. He drove in the Brewers' only run of the game. The team went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. With the game tied at 1 and 1 in the 7th, Albert Almore Jr. hit a homer for the Cubs, pushing them over the edge. Final score, Cubs 4, Brewers 1. They'll close out the series at Wrigley at 1:20 this afternoon. The finals of this year's All-City Swim Meet are today at the West Side Swim Club. Over the weekend, more than 2,000 swimmers competed in 4,000 events. The All-City Swim Meet began back in 1962 with 5 city clubs. Now there are 13 swim clubs competing, and it's one of the largest outdoor amateur meets in the country. Middleton won the team title last year. We will have today's highlights on our news at 5:30 and 10. Former Badger J.J. Watt is getting ready to practice with the Packers tomorrow and Tuesday ahead of a preseason game at Lambeau this Thursday. Watt has had his share of injuries the last few years, but finally played an entire season last year for the first time since 2015. And he's full go for preseason practice this year, too.
Last year, I had an idea of what I wanted to accomplish, and I hoped I could accomplish it, but I wasn't 100% sure because I hadn't really played in a couple of years. And so this year, I have a lot of confidence going in. I have a lot of excitement. I have a lot of energy. I have a solid base where I know where I'm at, whereas last year I was kind of feeling it out to see where I was at.
And practice starts at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow and Tuesday. The preseason game kicks off at 7 p.m. Thursday. The Badger football team is practicing as well with only 27 more days until the season opener at South Florida on August 30th. It's not often we concern ourselves with football practice at Florida State University, but there is an interesting story to Badger fans in Tallahassee because you all remember quarterback Alex Hornibrook. Well, number 12 transferred from Wisconsin to Florida State and is now competing to be the Seminoles' starting quarterback. Hornibrook says life is good at FSU.
When I came down here on the visit, I was really impressed. First of all, with just the guys and the talent on this field, it was pretty crazy. Getting down to the first thing I saw was the receivers. I'd never seen that much talent in a receiver corps before. And then everybody just seemed hungry at that whole practice. It was just kind of a different intensity than I've seen before. These guys have been awesome, getting down here, meeting all them, and they're very welcoming, and just getting through all the workouts with them. It was a real good summer.
It's 7-11, and fortunately, Florida's weather and our temperatures not too far off this week. It's still hot here in Madison, and here is a live look outside. Chris Reese has your full first alert forecast ahead.
We had those showers and thunderstorms move through yesterday afternoon and evening, and this shows where most of that rainfall did fall. Notice a lot of that was towards the central and eastern portions of the viewing area. The further west you were, the more you missed out on any of the shower and thunderstorm activity. But folks, where it came down, anywhere from the Dells down through the western part of Dane County, you really got in on a soaker of a thunderstorm that dumped a lot of rain in a short amount of time. You got another one that popped off over towards the southeastern part of Dane County during the afternoon yesterday. But here's how things all played out. The line of showers and thunderstorms worked in from the north and west. It packed a punch as it came on through. Granted, they weren't severe, and then quickly fell apart. And just like that, we're all clear this morning. No showers or thunderstorms out over south central Wisconsin, or really the state of Wisconsin as a whole. We're quiet across the upper Midwest. I do believe, though, that we may get in on at least another isolated shower or thunderstorm later on today. We'll focus on that in just a moment. In the meantime, it is comfortable and quiet outside. The temperature 67, dew points are in the 60s. So one thing you will notice already this morning is that it is just a little bit humid, folks. 67 in Viroqua right now, Boscobel at 64, Camp Douglas at 63. all of our temperatures are into the 60s. Some of us starting to approach the 70s. La Crosse has actually already beat us there. And the dew points are well into the upper 60s as well. This is why it's going to feel just a little bit uncomfortable and sticky as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Now, yesterday's showers and thunderstorms were brought to us by this weak tail of a cold front that's pushing down towards the south. It's actually going to help force this area of high pressure further towards the southern plains. As that happens, it opens up room for a cold front across Canada to push ever so closely to the state of Wisconsin. That's going to be increasing our rain chances into tomorrow. Watch the rain chances start to develop throughout the high plains and then push in towards the Great Lakes region. That will fire off showers and thunderstorms probably sometime tomorrow afternoon and evening. But let's go ahead and time out the rest of today and into tomorrow just to show you when you might want to plan for those rain chances. For one, there's that very slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm popping up this afternoon. Not everyone gets in on this, and I do think it'll be less widespread than yesterday. Temperatures are going to be warm, though. Look for those highs right around 86 or so. Overnight tonight, we'll cool down into the upper 60s. Notice those winds coming out of the south. That's allowing more moisture to move into the atmosphere. And then tomorrow afternoon, showers and thunderstorms begin to dive in from the north, and then those will push on towards the south. That'll actually help to clear things out. But one of the things we're going to watch for tomorrow afternoon is a little risk for some severe weather. The main threats might be some hail and high winds at times. Other than that, we'll start to clear things out as we move towards your Tuesday. Though some isolated storms at some spots can't be ruled out. For the most part, our week ahead is fairly dry for us. Temperatures are going to be very comfortable as well. Other than tomorrow, the other bigger rain chances we're watching are next Monday and Tuesday.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, it really does. I'm excited.
Me too. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Well, achieving your personal best, whether you're a CrossFit athlete or just your average runner, there is a new app to help you reach your fitness goals. Local trainer Casey Green is here to talk about the new Charge app. That's next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. If you've ever wondered who's tougher, Madison police officers or firefighters, this weekend we found out. The two departments squared off Saturday in the annual Battle of the Badges. The match kicked off at Stevens Field before the Forwards game. Now, the MPD and MFD have faced off in competitions before, but this weekend showdown was their first matchup in soccer. And Forward Madison officials say the excitement building around Madison with pro soccer made the game a no-brainer.
Now that we have a professional pro soccer club here in Madison and beautiful historic Stevens Field, just the opportunity to kind of bring that PD and fire rivalry to new levels was just just hard to pass, hard to miss.
Now, there was no fire, but Madison Fire smoked the competition, winning 7-0. All proceeds from the game go to Madison Schools and Community Recreation, an organization dedicated to providing after-school programs and recreation to students within the Madison Metropolitan School District. CrossFit athlete or not, people here in the Madison area are some of the fittest in the country. You'll always find groups out running on local trails and paths, but if you don't have a group to run with, a new app is available to help. The Charge app connects virtual teammates with virtual trainers to provide a whole new way for runners to reach their goals. Trainer Casey Green is here to explain it. Good morning, Casey.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So we were talking about the fact that there's tons of fitness apps out there, especially when it comes to running. What sets this app apart?
What's great about Charge is not only are we a fully mobile app, but also we have live real-time data and live coaching for any one of our users. So instead of kind of getting the robotic voices that just track your GPS and say, congratulations, you've run a mile, you actually get coached by a certified professional trainer in real time.
That's awesome. So how does it work? So you download the app and then you go for a run and you have somebody literally talking to you?
Yeah, so all you have to do is download the app, pick the run that you want. We have over 100 runs per week of a wide variety for beginners all the way to people training for their 10th, 12th marathon, whatever it may be. Grab your headphones, plug yourself in, and you have a trainer right there along with a list of teammates that you can train with, coaching you through a specific workout and having a unique playlist designed for that workout.
Having a personal trainer obviously can be a little expensive. In terms of the app, is that maybe a more cost-effective way to have that?
Yeah, it's incredibly cost-effective. So not only does it give you more flexibility based on your schedule, but also you get a 7-day free trial as soon as you download the app, and then we're only $14.99 a month, or an annual subscription is only $120. So you can get all the personalized training that you need for way less than, hiring me to come to your house and get you going.
Yeah, that is a great deal. And I think, we all know that exercise is important, but how does having that personal coach or that little person in your ear saying, great job, keep going, how does that help maximize your workouts?
So a lot of it comes down to accountability. It's much easier to stay in bed then head out the door if you don't have someone that's there kind of driving and encouraging you to get going. And also, it takes kind of the guesswork out of it. The trainer does all the organizing of the workout and coaches you through each and every step to really maximize the most effective training regimen possible.
You said the app was developed in Chicago, but we do have some local connections. You're based in the area, and then also talk about the connection to the Madison Marathon.
Yeah, so our trainers are spread throughout 4 different time zones. I'm based in Madison. The app was developed in Chicago, but we're a global app, really. We have runners in the UK and in Spain, up in Canada and down to South America as well. What's great about it is with the upcoming November Madison Half and Madison Full Marathon, all types of users can get any style of training that they need in order to prepare for that. We have weekly long runs, track Tuesdays and track Thursdays, tempo runs, all of which are going to be really maximal for getting someone ready for a PR run at the marathon.
Awesome. Before we head to commercial break, name the app again and how people can download it.
Yeah, so we're called Charge Running, and you can find us on chargerunning.com, or you can just type into the App Store or the Android store as well, because we're on Android and iPhone, just Charge Running, and we'll pop right up.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, there's a half hour of news still ahead here on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories and meet the teenage pioneer making headlines after becoming one of the youngest people to ever undergo gender reassignment surgery. What she wants you to understand about her life-changing decision. We'll be right back.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's August 4th. I'm Keely Arthur. We're going to get a check on weather with Chris in just a second. But first, we're following breaking news this morning. At least 9 people are dead and 16 wounded after a shooting outside a popular bar in Dayton, Ohio's Oregon District at 1 o'clock this morning. Police are now trying to identify the suspect who was shot to death by Dayton police officers, and they're trying to determine a motive. This shooting comes less than 24 hours after the 8th deadliest shooting in American history, when a gunman killed at least 20 people at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, Saturday. 26 others were injured. Texas officers are now looking into that shooter's written manifesto, trying to find a motive. Madison police are looking for a man in his early 20s accused of robbing a pizza delivery driver at gunpoint overnight. It happened shortly after midnight on the 300 block of North Broome Street. Now, officers say the suspect was with a group of 5 other men and 1 woman when he took cash from the Domino's delivery driver. That driver, thankfully not injured, and reportedly didn't call police until he got back to the Domino's. If you were in that area just west of the Capitol overnight and have any information, you're asked to call Madison Police. And starting tomorrow night, there will be nightly road closures at Highway PD in Fitchburg. PD will be closed at the intersection of Verona Road as crews set up concrete grinders for 2 new bridges going up there. Nightly closures go from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Thursday of next week. The entire Verona Road project is expected to wrap up this fall. And speaking of the fall, Chris, we are still feeling those warm summer temperatures, right?
Yes, it's certainly feeling like summer out there. Fall is not here yet. Plenty of sunshine in the meantime. Temperatures right at 67. Winds are calm. The humidity, though, at 90%. So as you step outdoors, you're going to feel the moisture in the meantime. We're at 63 in Watertown, Waukesha at 63, and Janesville at 61. Most temperatures are in the low to mid 60s, so some upper 60s do show up, even a 72 as you work your way over towards the cross. But we are free of the showers and thunderstorms. Last night got a little noisy, especially from about Madison and points towards the east and northeast, but we're clear, so no noise right now. In fact, the entire upper Midwest is quiet, though we may see another shower or thunderstorm try to fire up at some point later on this afternoon. The best time for that is going to be between about 4 and 6 o'clock. Outside of that 3-hour window, look for more sunshine, yes, some humidity, but temperatures that will remind us of the summer. Keely?
Thanks for tracking that for us, Chris. More local news now. A state lawmaker is introducing legislation that would add vaping to Wisconsin's smoke-free laws. Now, under that proposal, e-cigarettes and other vaping products would become part of the state's clean indoor air law. The bill would expand upon the 2009 statewide law that prohibits smoking in indoor public places. State health officials announced they're now looking into 11 cases of teens and young adults with a serious lung disease. That's in addition to 7 cases already under investigation in the southeastern part of our state. The Department of Health Services doesn't know for sure what the cause is, and they are looking. But one thing that is in common for everyone is that all of them have vaped.
I have not seen anything like this before. Even literature reviews have been maybe single cases that may have been associated with someone who had vaped. But again, nothing to this extent. We're breaking new ground, unfortunately, in a bad way.
Local vape shops we spoke with say you can't make this an issue for all vape devices, but health experts are worried that this issue could continue to spread and say in the meantime there's no vape that's a safe vape. A Verona native is still recovering this weekend after a rock climbing accident left her with extensive injuries. She fell 60 feet while rock climbing in Colorado. Her family is saying it was a miracle she survived, especially without brain or spinal cord injuries. However, she still has a long road to recovery. Her dad, Tim Hall, says spending time outdoors has always been Ella's passion.
I don't think it's going to sway her from climbing. Yeah, she'll get back at it.
Ella plans on returning to school when she is well. A GoFundMe page was started to help cover medical expenses, and we have a link to that on our website, channel3000.com. A high school student in New Hampshire is being called a pioneer after becoming one of the youngest people to undergo gender reassignment surgery. But her long, challenging journey began when she was just a child. Now she's sharing her story with Kenneth Craig in hopes it will inspire and help others.
At 17 years old, Emily Tressa finally feels fully herself.
It's a day you've been waiting for. Yeah. Here you go.
Last month, she became one of the youngest patients in the country to undergo gender reassignment surgery.
For me, it feels almost like I'm finally fully complete now.
Emily was born a boy, but says she's always known she was a girl.
I used to look in the mirror and be like, is it only me? Am I the only person that feels like this, that I'm trapped in the wrong body?
As a young child, she changed her name and started dressing as a girl, first at home and later at school.
Was it tough?
Yeah, I mean, I just had the biggest fear of being judged.
With her parents' support and under the care of doctors and psychologists, Emily eventually started taking hormone blockers to prevent male puberty, and then estrogen to develop a female body.
Emily is a pioneer because she is at the forefront of this new generation of young kids, adolescents, who are realizing what they are much earlier in life and are able to transition even before puberty.
Dr. Jess Ting performed Emily's reassignment surgery at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, creating female anatomy that is fully functional. His team has completed 1,200 various operations.
Have we come really far in terms of the actual surgery? Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Ting considers it a life-saving surgery, given the alarming rates of attempted suicide among transgender youth. Emily's mother says her only fear is what would happen if she tried to hold Emily back.
We saw the unhappy boy and we saw the happy girl. And we knew the statistics. And we knew we'd much rather have an alive daughter than a dead son.
Thank you so much for supporting me through.
Emily has become an activist and uses social media to let others know they're not alone.
And it's okay to be who you are and come out to the world and just present as yourself.
Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Summer camp for the whole family. Well, that's the premise behind Kalahari's Resort's major convention happening this week in the Dells. We'll learn more about that conference. No, really, that's what it's called. Next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. That conference, finally referred to as Summer Camp for Geeks, starts in the Dells today, offering fun sessions for adults and their kids throughout the week. It's a tech conference filled with more than 30 workshop sessions for kids, several taught by kids with hands-on activities based in learning in the STEM fields. And joining us to talk about that right now is Clark and Tiffany. Good morning. Thank you for waking up and joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
So that conference is kind of a vague name.
Yes, it is.
Explain exactly what that conference is.
We are a family-friendly summer camp for geeks. So we try to create exposure for kids and have adults network with one another and teach one another everything that they do all day long.
What exactly are they learning?
Anything in tech. So it could be the simple mechanics of how to make a proper airplane to hardcore coding and things that are happening in the tech industry today, mostly around software.
How many people go to that conference?
We had over 1,700 last year, and this year we're around the same.
Very exciting. And I know, Tiffany, you were saying that that's kind of one of the reasons that you are expanding at Kalahari.
Absolutely. We broke ground on the expansion in October of 2017 to meet growing demand for event space in Wisconsin Dells, events similar to that conference, and we doubled the size of our event space. We added 112,000 square feet, so we're now over 212,000 square feet. We have 45 meeting rooms and 3 ballrooms, the largest of which is 52,000 square feet. Yeah. And Clark's event will be in that space this week.
That's awesome. And how will this extra space facilitate maybe other conferences going on?
Absolutely. The demand to the area is big because you have the opportunity for a little bit of work-life balance. That conference that you have to attend for work becomes something that's enjoyable for your entire family. And what we find with our contacts is that they experience up to a 20% increase in attendance for that reason. And because of that, there's some demand to add additional events. We host over 1,900 events each year. We expect that number to grow.
That's exciting. Yeah, kind of make it a vacation on top of maybe all the business things that are happening.
For sure.
And Clark, I know when I think of a conference, I think like business and no fun at all. It sounds like this is not what that conference is.
No, we're a pretty good mix of fun and hardcore learning. And the Kalahari is a good place to do that, right? We have the space to have these sessions, and then we can go to the water park, which is, I guess, a few thousand steps away, but it's there.
What's some of the excitement that you see happening between maybe parents and their kiddos at the conference?
There's a reconnection between what the reality is of today, right? Social media and the computers and all that, to how they grew up and being able to connect in a way that they just haven't before.
How long has this been going on, and how can people get involved maybe next year?
This is our 8th event. You can find us at thatconference.com, and we'll be here next August.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Clark, and thank you so much, Tiffany. Very exciting things happening at Kalahari.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Well, in the water parks in the Dells, also very busy today and into the week with another string of sunny days. But there are some chances for showers to keep an eye on, too. You're looking live over the Capitol. Chris is back with your full forecast next on News 3 Now this morning. But first, let's take a look at who is 3 today. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Well, we had some showers and thunderstorms that moved in from the north and east yesterday. Those pushed towards the south and west fell apart, and now things are all clear for us. Here's high-resolution Doppler right now. You've got a couple green little blips on the radar showing up, but that's not rainfall that's actually reaching the ground by any means. For the most part, things are actually very quiet across the upper Midwest, and most of today will actually stay that way, but we'll see a chance for some showers and thunderstorms moving into the afternoon. Right now, it's 67. The dew point at 64. Winds are calm, but you will notice that things are very humid as you step outside. Temperature-wise, most of us are into the 60s. Milwaukee at 69, the Dells at 65. You work your way up towards Fond du Lac. That's where the temperature is also 68 degrees right now, but dew points are pretty well set into the 60s right now. There's one little area of error showing up with some drier air throughout the western part of Dane County. Nope, it's still very humid throughout western Dane County. And it's going to be staying humid, folks, as we go throughout the day. Now, the storms yesterday were brought our direction by this little tail of a cold front pushing towards the south and west. That's actually going to help push this region of high pressure a little further towards the south. As that moves towards the south, it opens the door for a cold front over Canada to begin to work its way our direction. That's going to be increasing the rain chance as we head into Monday afternoon into Tuesday. In fact, you can already see how some of those rain chances try to approach, and then they push on towards the south and east and will likely remain somewhat unsettled beyond that. But let's time it out for you. This afternoon, of course, I did mention that we do have that slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Here we are at 2 o'clock. Not everyone's going to get on this, and I think it'll be a lot less in coverage than what we saw yesterday. But we'll see those temperatures top out right around 86. Keep in mind, it's going to be humid as well. Winds turn out of the south overnight with those lows falling into the upper 60s. Then it's tomorrow we'll actually start to see a more organized chance of showers and thunderstorms moving our direction. Strong winds will be coming out of the south. Here comes the storms out of the north. Check out the temperature difference as these showers and thunderstorms get in. Temperatures will be in the mid and upper 80s throughout the southern part of the area. Towards the north, you'll see a lot of those temperatures that are into the 70s, and then eventually we'll clear everything out with more sunshine as we move into your Tuesday. We'll see a slight storm chance Wednesday and Thursday, but then we are really pleasant, folks, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean, those are going to be the pick days of the forecast, that's for sure. Monday and Tuesday of next week, we do have storm chances on the table already.
Really, overall, though, I mean, we are spoiled. It's been beautiful.
We've been very spoiled. Hopefully, we stay that way for a little bit.
We want a beautiful rest of the summer, beautiful fall.
I do want a beautiful fall.
Mild winter.
We'll see about that one.
All right, thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
Fingers crossed. Well, there's more news ahead all day long here on News 3 Now. And then join us tomorrow morning for the latest on traffic changes and congestion around Verona Road as construction crews shift cones yet again. But first, we'll introduce you to a couple who's sharing their passion, not just from a stage, but also a basement along Atwood Avenue. This is News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Finally this morning is a story about the love of music and that love bringing two people together. Mary Gaines and Chris Wagner bleed music. They are crazy talented and both come from musical families.
As Charlotte DeLeste shows us, they're sharing their passion not just from a stage, but also from a basement along Atwood Avenue.
You can hear some pretty sweet sounds coming from this building on Atwood Avenue.
We play jazz, we play bluegrassy, we play old-timey, folk, we play Latin, a little blues. Well, it's all mixed together. It's just Americana, really.
Chris Wagner and Mary Gaines have been playing together for 32 years, married for 29 years, have founded 7 musical groups, and between them play 11 instruments.
We're actually slightly introverted, so we're believe it or not, as performers, I think people don't realize that not everyone is like, hey, look at me.
It goes without saying, this award-winning husband and wife duo has a special connection with music.
It just encompasses every emotion you could have, and so it's a real therapy for learning how to express yourself in a way that is very palatable.
Mary calls it an abstract language.
For some reason, we all understand because it's part of most people.
So it's all of me.
Which helps explain why we're in this basement. This is Stringtown Studios, the place where Chris and Mary teach the magic of music to anyone and everyone, young and young at heart.
We hear some stories about what ultimately turned them off. And so they didn't play for years. It's like, oh my, that's horrible. I hate hearing that. It's like, why, that should not be. You know, everyone should be able to enjoy doing that, picking up an instrument at any age.
Adults, children, it doesn't really matter what age they are. You can see sometimes in their behavior or how they play something, what they know and what they don't, and to help them expand that is just, it's very rewarding to watch somebody learn to play better.
They also strive to build unbreakable confidence in their students, even if it means teaching themselves out of a job.
To be able to do it on their own, to learn how to take something they've never heard before or seen before and turn it into something that expresses them.
At the end of the day, I feel energized. I think Mary and I talk about it, instead of feeling like, oh my God, you know, oh, that was tough. It's like almost never feel like that.
Energy from a universal language that truly doesn't need words.
I found this purse at Goodwill and it said, music is life. And I just thought, that's so perfect. You don't really need to say anything else.
Nice, nice. Cool.
Congratulations, Chris and Mary. If you know a top-notch teacher, nominate them at channel3000.com. You can click on the Education tab, and from there you'll find information on top-notch teachers. Well, teaching us about the weather, the wonderful Chris Reese. What's going on?
Thank you. Plenty of sunshine as we go through today. There will be a slight chance of a shower or storm this afternoon, but Keeley, tomorrow a cold front starts to move our direction. That will provide more widespread showers and thunderstorms headed into Tuesday. Now, if you've ever wanted to see a dog that may or may not be a Packers fan with a mohawk, here's Lambeau in Janesville for your pet walk at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Look for sunshine at temps around 84.
He needs to dye that green.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining Chris and I. We'll see you here tomorrow.